Well, hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome in. Excuse me for not being on, paying close attention because I'm scanning the transfer portal today before we went on the air and saw that we came on and the green light popped up. And I went, ooh, better get off the portal and get on the camera here today to see what's going on. Doesn't seem too much earth shattering at this point, Barry, but we're 24 hours into the portal opening yesterday.
There's some interesting stuff now. I wish I had a number because it's bound to be in the 500s at least right now, including some big names. The word is out that it looks as though former Tennessee quarterback Nico, or as Philip Marshall calls him, Nico Lamaliva.
Has that been changed? Let me check. Let me see if
it has not. Of course not.
Let me check that here this morning.
Gosh, if he could change some things, he probably would have done quite a few more things in the past. Wait a minute. You didn't say that. Well, yes, I did. Look back here. You know, he could do that. But Nico Iamaleava is
it's still misspelled. I'm checking right now.
Question. I'm not even checking, and I know it's still misspelled. That he is evidently going to go to UCLA.
Yeah.
Which has not been a huge transfer portal player. I would just, what people make is their own business. But I would like to know how much he is making. And if it's anywhere close to what he was making in Tennessee.
When I heard that yesterday, my first thought was, who's the head coach at UCLA now? I mean, I had to think about that for a minute.
And then Deshaun Foster.
My second thought was, what other impact players are at UCLA? I know they had a rough year. Deshaun Foster, the former running back, great at UCLA.
Yeah.
I thought that was a strange hire as well. But that's an interesting landing spot.
Well, you know why it is. It's not strictly money, Yeah. I mean, he would go to the University of Beirut if they paid him enough money, I would suspect. So there is that in terms of, anybody that we'd be really interested in the SEC, the Auburn Tigers into the transfer portal, Dylan Gentry, J.R. Buckner, Braden Joyner. Stop me if one of them just blows you away.
Braden Joyner. That sounds like a frat boy. Braden Joyner.
J.C. Hart, Terrence Love.
Wait a minute.
Those are just in the spring portal. So, losing J.R. Buckner, the long snapper, that's the truth. Can't begin to tell you, whether that's a big loss or not. The only long snapper, to be honest, and I like long snappers fine, was that long snapper back when Coach Dye was coaching named Brian Brinsfield, and Coach Dye, for the life of him, could not pronounce his name. Brainsworth, Brinsfall,
it's probably why Coach Dye and I got along so well. I've been known to misspell and mispronounce people's names too.
Yeah. There were quite a few Alabama players that were in the transfer portal after the season, but really nothing. You're right.
Yeah.
Nothing earth-shattering so far. Nothing at all.
When my TiderInsider alarm goes off, whoop, 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 meaning, watch out, something's happened. I haven't gotten that alarm. I've had my phone by me just about every minute over the last 24 hours, and nothing popping up there.
Uh-oh. Think we might have lost John, not hearing him all of a sudden. This is one of those where, yikes, I'm hoping everybody else can hear him because all of a sudden I sure cannot. Somebody let me know. Can you hear John? Because I am not as of right now. So Hopefully you guys are hearing John, because I am not. All of a sudden, it ain't happening for me. Yep, John's gone. John, nobody can hear you right now, and it just happened all of a sudden. So we'll keep going like this. This is difficult because there are issues out there. I had somebody who texted me last night and said, have you been watching? There he is. Have you been watching the? There he is.
Somebody mentioned our matching shirts today. I love that.
Yeah. But somebody asked, have you been watching the NBA tonight? And I had not. And he said, guaranteed within the first 5 minutes, we're going to hear about the Phantom and his daily dog. No. We have the Phantom at the same time every week. I mean, every day. So, we'll have the Phantom later on.
So for some reason, I'm not hearing Barry here today, but I was mentioning North Carolina and their 11 scholarship players that had entered the transfer portal. To me, that seems like a lot. I guess Bill Belichick putting his stamp on this Tar Heel program, but
I got one better for you.
11 seemed to be a little large number.
I got one better for you.
Maybe people that follow the portal a lot closer than I do would know that, but 11 seems a little large.
I can hear John now. Can John hear me? I couldn't hear him before. Can hear him now. Somebody let me know as to whether you can hear either of us. John says he can't hear me. For a moment I couldn't hear him. Now I hear him now. So we'll see if we can get that working out.
I can't hear anything here.
Yep. Yep. Well, off to a start here. I want to get this out there because there is.
Oh, well, Joe says he can hear us. I just can't hear Barry.
Yep.
For some reason.
Okay. Well, we didn't hear John. Yeah.
I can. Joe can hear us, but I can't hear Barry. But hey, what the heck?
Yeah. So
I'm talking about the transfer portal. I was not talking about smoothies, but I can. Wasn't talking about bus rides, but I can.
Yeah.
I usually wait and talk about those, Bill, a little bit later on. I really haven't gotten on a smoothie tangent in quite a while. I guess, some of those things you just got to let go,
Yeah.
Bus rides, got to let that go. That was 2 coaches ago, as a matter of fact. I think the smoothies were in the Brian Harsin era. The bus ride was in the Malzahn era. They busted back from Columbia, South Carolina after a loss to the Gamecocks, I believe.
They also had a bus ride back from
the smoothies
Chapel Hill.
Definitely Brian Harsin.
Yep.
Definitely, if I believe.
Well,
I don't know. Yeah. Hey, what do you see? We take a quick break, see if we can get our audio issue corrected here. I'm not real sure what we got going on. My audio seems to be in good position. But I don't know what we got going on. So let's take a quick break. We'll get our technician and engineering department fast at work and see what we can get going on here, get this train back on the track. What do you say?
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. Zero alcohol. Zero compromise.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Okay, I think we got it straightened out here on this Thursday.
All right,
The
let's
Invisible
test.
Man.
Let's test.
The
Can you hear
Invisible
me?
Man. Yeah, I got you.
Okay,
I can
good,
hear you now.
good.
Yeah,
All right.
The Invisible Man came and changed something on my settings. Not real sure how that happened. I wasn't even on that screen, but hey, I'm
Yeah.
not the technical engineer mumbo jumbo guy. But the Invisible Man came and got me today. But
It does.
So we got that taken care of. What I was saying is about North Carolina with 11 transfers. Bill Belichick putting his stamp on this program. That seems like a lot to me.
11 transfers coming in and probably quite a few coming out. We mentioned yesterday with Tom Luganbill about the South Alabama quarterback, Gio Lopez, probably going to North Carolina. There's several of them like that. And with them, a lot of it is, Belichick has come in and he has said, look, if you want a winning program, you're going to have to invest. His salary, the salary for his assistants, especially his coordinators, is about 3 times what it was under Mac Brown. And Mac Brown had won a championship in college. So they're investing. They're investing and they're getting guys, but also some of the tweener guys, some of the guys who are maybe getting an offer close to what North Carolina is offering them. They're thinking, man, if I want to go to the league, who better to play for than a guy who's won 6 Super Bowls, So he has that reputation helps him as well. I got one better for you. The basketball program and the basketball portal obviously is going on too. In basketball, the Baylor Bears, they've won, I think it was 4 years ago. This is not why John and I are both wearing green, but we're going to talk about Baylor for a moment. Baylor won a national championship 4 years ago. And, they're well thought of Coach Scott Drew, Baylor has lost everybody. Everybody, and it's a good team. Last year, they had a good year. Every player from last year's roster, gone. 4 of them graduated. 1 of them is turning pro. 9 have hit the transfer portal. Now, if this can happen to a top-tier program that won a national championship 4 years ago, it can happen to your team. It can happen to any team. It's just the way things are. Everybody, everybody went in the transfer portal. They did have guys who actually received a college degree. I guess that's still a thing. But they have turned over their entire team. John, how are they going to sell season tickets? How are they going to, hey, you don't know any of the guys. Never seen any of them play. All of the guys that you were rooting for last year and were hoping were developing into good players for Baylor, they're all gone. How can you get them excited when it's an entirely different team altogether?
It is altogether. That's a good question. I wonder if I really don't care. I'm rooting for the uniform, not so much the person that's wearing it. I hope he does well and I hope to grow to know him. But I'm really rooting for the uniform. I think about, Alabama to not the degree of Baylor, but they're going to have a lot of new faces on their team next year. They've gone to the portal and got some guys. They've had some guys that were on the team this year that have left. And we've been saying it for years now. You better get a roster every season when you go to the first couple of games because you're going to need it because you're not going to recognize some of these players. And I think you're going to start seeing it in football and basketball, obviously. but Baylor's the extreme. But I think programs all over the nation or their fans are experiencing, who's this guy? He wasn't on the team last year, was he? And I can see how it's frustrating. I've never been one of the guys that, when I was younger, maybe with football players that would stay 2 or 3 years, but I don't think I've, individual players really, it's never been that for me. It's always been about the team. What does the team make up? And it takes me a couple of games to figure it out. Well, this team looks pretty good, and this guy looks like to be the marquee player. It doesn't bother me that much, but I can see how some fans wouldn't like it. Is it going to stop me from being a season ticket holder? I wouldn't think now, but it could in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they ain't selling any season tickets, but there's bound to be some people who are thinking, they are asking me to contribute to the collective. They're asking me to seat licenses. They're asking me to contribute to the construction going on in sports facilities. They're asking me to actually pay for the tickets and everything. And I don't know any of the players, I mean, it'll take me until December of the basketball season, a month and a half in, before I figure out who any of them are. It ain't going to happen to everybody, but there's bound to be some people who are, like you and I have talked about before with Luke's and other people that are just saying, man, I'm out. This doesn't mean as much to me as it used to be. If I'm going to do anything just because I love my school, I'm going to contribute to the business school. I'm going to spend my money on the arts and science department or something like that. People that I know every year,
I guess the coaches are asking the fans to put a lot of trust in them. Look, I'm building this program. I'm having to deal with transfers in and out. Names and faces are changing, but we're trying to build the best roster every year. And I guess technically, isn't that what you want? I mean, don't you want the best roster you can possibly get year after year after year? I mean, knowing people's faces and, oh, man, this guy gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling because he loves State U and he busts his tail every night, but we're still below 500. But, hey, I love the guy. In this day and age, I'm not sure people really care about that. They want to win. And I think the cost of winning and the pressure to win is so great that, having this kid that grew up wearing your jersey as an 8-year-old kid and he lived out a dream to play for his school, okay. But if you're not winning,
no,
nobody's happy.
And everybody's not winning the championship, and everybody's not making the playoff or an NCAA tournament or something like that. There's got to be some identification. For instance, as an example, John could not tell you what Auburn's record was in 1992, but he remembers the name Eric Ramsey. John couldn't tell you going year by year in the 1980s when John was really locked in. Couldn't tell you every year, from the 1980s, like Coach Dye's first year, 1982. Yeah. Could not tell you the record there, but he can tell you Markeith Cooper. He can tell you D.D. Green. He can tell you Lorenzo Diamond. He can tell you
Rory, I wax that dude. That dude.
He has built quite an identification with certain players.
Yeah.
Without necessarily knowing what that team that he played on did.
Yeah.
So there is some notoriety.
I can take it even further, Barry. I mean, you got the sandbox game, the chain link game. You got the mountaintop game. You got the Dennis Riddle game when Bama came back when Freddie Kitchens hit him. I think it was Stallings' last Iron Bowl. So, yeah, I know them in that form and fashion, but
don't you look every year? I mean, John, before we went on the air today, I notified John that I have emailed him a copy of the helmet schedule. And this for him, if you ever, it's an unbelievable thing. John and future schedules. John will, oh boy, I can't wait to go print that out and take a look at it and see what everybody's doing. Ooh, look at these off weeks. Those things, But I just remember all those years we'd go to SEC media days back when they used to give you media guides. He'd go, and you'd have a big old box, and you'd have to tote up all the media guides to your hotel room along with your luggage and along with the broadcast equipment and everything like that. John would spread them out in front of him, and he'd say, okay, future schedules. What? Ooh, how do they get Notre Dame? And okay, all right, I'll spread mine out, and I'll say, okay, golly, who's the starting left tackle? Could it be that guy? I don't know. He only played in 11 games last year, and that's just a difference in there. John's looking at, oh, wait a minute. Wow. Home and home with USC? Nice. I'd look at it and say, hey, this guy's coming back. He's a 3-year starter. So, it's a different kind of a deal.
It is, yeah. And, of course, in those media guys, most of them, the future schedules were usually on the first 2 or 3 pages.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go look through the other 200.
It just to bug the snot out of him when he did. Come on now. No.
Yeah, come on. You put them right here. Put them on page 2 or 3.
Forget about the facilities, Forget about that. They're putting the staff in there. I don't need to know who Frank Orgel is. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, secretarial pool, don't need to know it. Who cares? But then I'd bring them home and we'd give them away. Hey, LSU fan, you want a media guide?
I don't want my dermatologist was an Ole Miss guy. I'd give it to him. He'd,
And then,
my dentist would give me a free cleaning if I brought him.
I said, why am I lugging 25 pounds worth of media guides down to my car in the parking deck? I just leave them in the room. Let the maid take care of them. I don't want these things. I know I've gotten what I need out of them. Then, of course, media guides are a thing of the past. I don't think they make media guides. It comes with a thumb drive now.
It does.
It
does. Yep. So you can download them off the internet if you have.
Saving trees and all that kind of good stuff. So it's kind of like paper tickets. No more media guides.
Yeah.
But, I'm thinking back, obviously this is pre-transfer portal, but, obviously there were a lot of marquee players that played for Saban at Alabama, namely quarterbacks that people remember. Devontae Smith, the wide receiver, obviously won the Heisman Trophy. A couple of other Heisman Trophy winners, but I guess skill position players, you remember. I got to tell you, I don't remember many linemen, offensive and defensive linemen. Defensive backs, some linebackers, linemen. You give me the name, I'll go, yeah, I remember that guy. But
Andre Smith, Dwight Stevenson.
Do I remember some move where he, a pulling guard move on a student body left? No, I can't say I remember that.
John ain't the guy up there in the mahogany paneled suite that he bogarted his way into with a gin and tonic with a little twist in it and all that kind of stuff. He all of a sudden, he's talking to somebody about, I'm telling you, you can call Kenny at 669-5959. He can fix you right up. Tell him John sent you. Oh, wait. He puts down his gin and tonic and says, look at that. The pulling guard. Oh, man, they're going to run an end sweep to the left side. He needs to cut in under that crackback block from the wide receiver. John ain't that guy. That ain't good. Oh, wow. Did you see that stunt on defense? Yeah, the left defensive end just curled right in under the left tackle. That was beautiful. No, he's not gonna set down his gin and tonic for that.
Yeah, it has got to be a very blatant, evident case of an offense or defensive line blowing the opposite line of scrimmage off the ball or dominating them for me to notice. I mean, I love it when big former offensive lineman or defensive lineman, he's had a few pops as well. He goes, man, look at that D tackle. He's killing that guy. And I'm going, oh, really? Oh, well, maybe I ought to take a look. Fine. I mean, that is not where my attention. Now, Bob from Pike Road, I don't want to offend you, but I just don't, my eyes are not gravitating toward the line play. Maybe, and I know people that played on the line and they talk all about the calls and the pulls and the swim moves and all this stuff. And I'm going, what? Just knock the guy in front of you off the ball. I mean, come on.
John, we both think the world of Cole Kubelik, but he's talking about the A gap and the leverage. Oh, excellent use of his hands in the punch out. with his feet underneath him and da-da-da. So,
and, to each his own. If people like that, go for it. That loses me. I'm done. I don't need to know about A gaps, B gaps.
I love that kind of stuff.
The gap where you buy your jeans. I don't, swim moves, nickel packages, dime packages, umbrella coverages.
Yeah.
That's when I turn in the teacher from Charlie Brown mode. Wah, 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 wah.
Now, and my tendency is to say, okay, if you don't like that stuff, if you don't like the actual inner game and everything, what do you like? John sitting up there, mega mahogany paneled skybox that he bogarted his way into, and no. Yeah. I thought that field goal was going to miss. Man, I needed it. Okay, we're covering. Now, here we go.
I'm on this device right here going, ooh, look, this FanDuel's got Bam at 6.5 in the second half. I'm in.
Okay, that's exactly what it is.
So, I look at sports a little bit differently. I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back to my inner Bo Jackson. Bo was not known as a practice guy. He didn't really like to practice. I get you, Bo. I'm the same way. Gamer. I'm ready to play the game. So, all of the technical mumbo jumbo, and I know you got to have the X's and O's, and you got to game plan a little bit. But
he's selling himself short here. When Bubba Lewis said, run this play, John knew what it was.
Oh, I knew the play.
Fake the dive, 2 steps, jab in, pitch to the tailback, and run the other way. John knew. I got to read the defensive end over there. If he's crashing in, I pitch it. If he's playing the pitch, John knows all that kind of stuff. That's the only way you could run the plays back in the day in practice.
Yeah, the great thing about running the scout team is Bubba Lewis, who was the defensive coordinator, didn't really care what the heck I did. He just wanted to make sure his defense was reacting properly.
All right.
If I screwed the play up, he didn't. I'm not even sure he knew if I screwed the play up. But if his defense didn't react like he wanted them to, he's over there bending them their ear, chewing them a new one, and I'm sitting over there just giggling, going, look at this guy. I mean, I'm the guy that screwed up, but he's getting chewed out because he didn't slide down and pinch or whatever the terminology was. And I mean, I get that, but I'm more of a gamer, and I don't dissect the game and break it down. And I've told you before, I mean, if Charles Lee threw one eraser at me in film study, he threw 15. Because I was in the back of the room, all the lights are out, the game film's being shown, they're breaking it down back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm leaning my head up against that little tray where you put the erasers on, and he threw erasers all the way in the back, hit me with this.
John may have had a little bit of a late night the night before, didn't get his proper sleep, and it's dark and it's quiet in there, and pretty soon he's up there, and all of a sudden what is that? Longshore, wake up.
I had this white stuff on my forehead where he threw the eraser at me. Kids today, they don't probably do that anymore these days. But anyway, to each his own. I mean, if that's what you like, I get it. I mean, if you want to know who the third team left tackle is at Mississippi State, hey, knock yourself out.
How many of you, and there's a couple of places you can go online. On3.com has it. So really good one from 24/7 Sports where you can track the transfer portal, which I've been, doing for the last couple of days. How many of you look on there and said, oh boy, we got a transfer offensive guard from Ball State? Yeah. How many of you are looking at the transfer portal anyway? But how many of you are looking at the transfer portal to say, oh, defensive tackle? What's that? Oh, Missouri State. All right. That sounds great. Well, we'll take a break. When we come back, Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com, will join us. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
All right, 29 minutes to the top of the hour here on this Thursday. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Our man Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, joining us as he does each and every Thursday. Hey, Jason, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Doing really well. Give us a thought or two about A-Day. What was the value there Saturday?
Yeah, I told a couple of folks this week, quite honestly, I mean, if you go back to A-Day in 1999, that was a valuable day. Much of the last decade, it hasn't really been a valuable day. I thought there was more value in what they did Saturday, quite honestly, than what they've done the last 10 years in spring games. They've been televised already. So coaches are the most paranoid group of people on earth.
True.
So they didn't show anything to begin with. So it became a day for walk-ons to play. I thought there were more action from guys that actually are going to play football this year than there would have been in any spring game the last 10, 12 years. So it wasn't keeping scoreboard, doing all. But I thought in terms of actual what you saw on the field, I thought there was a lot more action Saturday than there would have been in an actual game. So combine that with a fan day, people get to come on the field, sign autographs, you do all that stuff. I thought it was much better than what a spring game would have been, since probably the early 2000s.
Jackson Arnold not participating, injury, a little slight nick or whatnot. Anything to be concerned about?
No, we were out there. He kind of tweaked a hamstring or something Thursday when we were out there. He went inside, came back out, walked around on the field, and then he was walking around on the field all day Saturday. Yeah. So it was just, hey, there's no need to push this thing. And I talked to a couple of coaches. They said, look, he got everything in he needed to do this spring in terms of installing the offense, all those things. And so, and quite honestly, I'm not certain he would have done much anyway, because it was really an important day for Deuce Knight. First time in the stadium with people in there. And to get all those reps, Jackson Arnold's played in games. Really, that's what that day is about, is kind of going, hey, get out there and get a few butterflies out, even though it's not an actual game. And so I'm not certain he would have done much anyway. Cam Coleman went in through some 7-on-7s, and then we got team stuff. He didn't really participate much either. So it was a day more probably for Deuce Knight anyway to kind of go, hey, we can ramp up a little bit of stuff here to get you some live reps in that situation.
How did he look?
I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, the normal thing for a freshman, probably hold the ball too long at times, which is what you can do in high school because those guys can't tackle you. And so you can hold it a little longer and let guys get open. I think it's, now, okay, I've got to throw a guy open. I've got to anticipate a throw, some of those things. And he's done that at times. This probably doesn't do it consistently enough. And so when you do that on this level, not consistently enough, it'll cause some turnovers. And so, but I thought overall he did pretty good. But I think just another step in the learning process for a quarterback that should still be going to prom, probably last week.
Yeah. Well, I'm along that same line, along that same vein of thought. I thought it was perceptive of you to get a chance to track down Ashton Daniels, who's not on campus yet, obviously, and get his perspective about things. Give us a thumbnail of your piece that you wrote for Auburn Undercover.
Yeah, just talking to a guy and going, hey, why Auburn? And he's like, look, it was just the place I wanted to be. And so this is a guy that, in my mind, and I think, hey, he'll have a chance to come in and compete. It's going to be difficult, but he was here during spring break, and then he came back for 8 days. So he was probably on campus for 4 or 5 practices to get a chance to kind of get a feel for the offense and go through some meetings, all that stuff. So for an older guy like that, that probably, allows him to kind of maybe hit the ground running a little bit when he gets here this summer at the end of May. But this guy said, look, I wanted the right fit. And I think that was the key for him. It's close to home. He's from Beaufort, Georgia. But I think he wanted to go, hey, I want to go to a place where we have a chance to win and help out wherever he needs to help out. So I thought it was a very selfless attitude from a guy that probably in this day and age could have probably been selfish and taken some money and gone somewhere where he'd have a chance to play, but maybe not at a roster that had a chance to go compete. I think he felt like, I want to go compete somewhere, and he felt like Auburn was the spot.
Jason, some observations that I've heard from people that one thing that they all kind of gravitate towards is you can tell the different caliber of player at Auburn. They look different. It looks like they're getting a good number of players that are SEC type players just by the way they look. We got to wait till the fall to see how they play on the field, but you can just kind of tell the recruiting that Hugh Freeze and his staff have done and brought in a different caliber of player.
Yeah, I think we've seen it even the last couple of years. You look and you went 2 years ago, you saw Keldrick Falk and Connor Lew, and you went, okay, those guys are different. Then last year you look up and you see Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons and DeMarcus Riddick and Malik Blockton and Caleb Harris. And all of a sudden you go, well, there's a few more of those guys that are in the mix. And then you look this year, and there were times that Saturday, combination of first and second team, that you had 7 true freshmen on the field. And those guys don't look lost, but you had, Jordan Crawford and Malik Autry up front, along with Jared Smith. And then you had, linebackers, Elijah Melendez, Bryce Diaz. You look out on the back end, and you have Blake Woodby and Donovan Starr. And, Anquan Fagan's the guy that continues to make plays. And, you look at Eric Winters from Enterprise. You look up and you have 7 true freshmen, Sam Turner on the other side, and Alvin Henderson. I mean, there's more of those guys. It looks more like it. And then, you add in a couple of key transfer guys again. And I think on the offensive line is probably where it's going to show up the most. I think Mason Murphy's a guy that probably got slept on a little bit. Everybody focused on Xavier Chaplin in the portal, and I think he's a guy that's going to be Auburn's left tackle. But, man, Mason Murphy's a pretty impressive guy at right tackle. And, you get Jeremiah Wright and, Dylan Wade, and now get Connor Lew back at center. And all of a sudden that's an offensive line that you feel like has a chance to go compete with folks. And so, yeah, there's no question it looks more like that. You're still counting on, they're going to play 8 or 9 true freshmen and play a role. But those guys are talented enough to come in and compete.
What aisle is Auburn shopping on in the transfer portal? If they're shopping, what aisle are they hitting? The offensive line aisle?
No, offensive line, I think they're pretty set offensive line wise. Now you may lose a couple more guys. Obviously, Braden Joyner went in the portal yesterday and got looking for playing time and starting time. But if you're not going to turn down the guy that says, "Hey, that's where I want to come." But I think for Auburn right now, you look at it and you go, I think they're shopping on an aisle that a lot of people are shopping on, interior defensive line, and it's, I would say in this day and age. And it's always one of the most difficult spots. Quarterback, true offensive tackle, and true defensive tackle are probably the 3 spots that are the most difficult to fill because there's fewer of those guys that are difference makers. And so can you find one of those guys? My guess is that if you're Auburn, you hope you can get what you did last year, which is Isaiah Rakes and Philip Bleedy, a couple of guys that can play 20, 25 snaps, older veteran guys that come in and bolster that young, talented group. So I would say interior defensive line. And then the same thing, they brought in a guy like Dorian Mosey last year from Duke, older, experienced inside linebacker. Those are the 2 spots I think that you're Auburn that you're probably first on your shopping list.
Jason, I'd like to just get your thoughts about what happened up in Knoxville. And do you think that was maybe the last straw that we'll finally get something going here, whether it's making these players employees or having a uniformed rule book for everybody to follow?
Yeah, I've been kind of laughing about it this week because all of a sudden they made Tennessee out to be the hero in this thing. And if memory serves me correct, didn't they pay him over $4 million to come to begin with?
Yeah.
So they're complicit in this too, that they said, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money. I mean, he was making trips from California to Knoxville, Tennessee almost every weekend. Well, he wasn't doing that for free.
That's right.
And also, that old saying that when you lie down with dogs, you come up with
get fleas.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they chose to do this to begin with, and then they got surprised when a guy who they paid that much money wanted more. It is the world we live in. And so hey, kudos to them for going, hey, enough's enough. But they kind of started this thing to begin with. And so, yeah, but we talked about this thing is not sustainable. Something has to happen. And it is going to be a contract thing. And this is a rant for another day, but hey, it's time now for student athletes that, okay, you're making this money. It's time to join the real world. And the real world means, okay, you live in that dorm, you're paying me rent. You eating this sandwich after practice, that's $8. Here's your massage, that's $125. You can't have everything and then get everything too. That's just not the way the world works. So
if you don't produce, you get fired.
Yeah, and hey, if you want to leave, then you pay me a buyout.
That's right.
Hey, but that's the real world. And if you want real world money, then it comes with real world problems. And right now they're getting real world money, and there's no problems.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's very well put, Jason. And I like the business model of, look, if we're going to commit to you for several $100,000, millions of dollars, you got to commit to us. You got to give us a 2-3 year deal.
You got to give somebody at least 2 years and go, okay,
yeah,
look, here's a couple of years. And if I don't, then hey, we mutually agree, you can go somewhere else. But hey, if we want to keep you and we have paid you this money and you want to go somewhere else, then you're paying us that money back. People talking about coaches. Well, coaches, when they do that, schools get a bunch of money from a buyout.
They do.
So it's just not the same thing. And hey, I agree that schools now and universities have brought this on because they continue to pay coaches this massive salaries to do this. And when you do that, people are going to go, well, I want mine too. And now GMs are making $750,000. I mean, there's money out there, but it also should come with some sort of guardrail that when you get it, you're just not, well, here it is. Here's your money. And there's no, everything should have a cause and effect. You get this money. That means you got to pay bills. You got to do something with it.
Jason, were you out there working the Auburn LSU series? Sweet.
Yeah, I was there for baseball. Yes.
Give me a high point or two, and a level of surprise at how Auburn handled them.
Yeah. Just continued the way the pitching has continued to develop a little bit. Got a really strong performance from Andres Alvarez in Game 3, which is important for them. But Cade Fisher pitched well, and then Sam Dutton has continued to pitch well. But they win a one-run game at Jacksonville State Tuesday night, right, and they're 8-2 in one-run games, and they were 2-8 last year. That's the story. The story is finding a way to win those types of games. That's been a big deal for this team.
All right, so let me see if I can guess there. You're up there working, paying attention, taking notes. And I know you were watching your phone or something like that, and you see Rory hit one into the water on 13 on in the final round on Sunday, and you're like, knew it. I mean, level of confidence that he was going to ultimately win it when he did that, or when he hit the bunker on 18.
I think it probably helped him tremendously that Bryson just flamed out. I think that had he been in the same group, had Justin Rose been in the same group with him, and you felt that pressure a little differently, I think it might have. But he knew that he had a par 5 still left, and Justin Rose had already gone through there. I thought that was a big benefit to him, even in that situation, that he knew he had a really good chance coming in. But no, it was, I think, there was a stat early in the week where you go, nobody's won and made a double bogey in like 7 years. And he made 4 or 5 of them in 4 days. Made two in the final round and wins.
And I heard a stat, Jason. Craig Stadler made 3 double bogeys the year he won it. Rory made 4, winning it this year.
Yeah, it shows you the firepower. I mean, the shot he makes at 15. People will forever talk about, the putt that he missed to get into it. I thought the 2 biggest shots of the day were the 2 wedge shots he hit on 13 and 18.
Yeah.
That were just shanked. But then shot at 15 around the tree was probably one of the top 5 shots in Masters history that people will kind of forget. But that was an incredible shot. He, what?
I mean, to start the tournament out, 2 up, and he's even after the first hole? You got to be thinking, in his mind, he's going, no way, you got to be kidding me. I've blown my lead, and I got 17 more to go. But the roller coaster ride after that was amazing.
It was crazy. It really was.
All right. Now we have baseball to look forward to. Philip does a good job with softball and on all of that. Auburn Undercover. You guys still aren't taking a deep breath in your coverage, are you?
No, not with portal wide open.
Yeah.
Football, portal, basketball. Obviously, a couple of big additions for basketball this week as well. I'll have something from Keyshawn Murphy later today, the Mississippi State transfer. I talked to him last night, a guy that I watched in camp sessions back when he was at Ramsey High School. So I've known him a long time. And so caught up with him about the move there. But got all that going on. Baseball, you beat number 3 LSU at home and sweep them, and your reward is to go to number 1 Texas in a short week. All but 2 series this week start tonight. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Auburn played at Jacksonville State Tuesday night, drove to Atlanta, spent the night at the airport, got up and got on a plane and practiced last night. And then you turn around and play number 1 team in the country this weekend. So, lots of things going on. You're right.
AuburnUndercover.com. Check it out. The website has all of the subscription information. Plenty of content as always, just like we get every week from Jason Caldwell live on the show. Appreciate you, Jason.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Take care.
You too, buddy. Have a great weekend. Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, joining us each and every Thursday here, brought to you by our friends at the City of Montgomery. Need to know more about what's going on in and around the capital city? Check it all out at montgomeryal.gov. In about 10 minutes or so, Rodney Orr, the TiderInsider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, the freshest seafood delivered daily from the Gulf of America. Barry, did you see where Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, officially has changed the name? All the signage is now the Gulf of America. What's Kay Ivey doing? Come on, Kay. You got to change those signs. Yep.
I did not see that.
And then my children tell me, if you go to like Google Maps, they showed it to me, it says Gulf of America on Google Maps.
How about that?
I'm thinking, wow, no way.
Yeah, I saw James Spann, the meteorologist. I didn't see the original tweet, but he posted on X and Twitter, he reposted something from somebody about weather conditions down in South Alabama and on the Gulf of America. He retweeted that. And I mean, all of a sudden his feed got blown up with, calling him a fascist. And, so he said, look, he said, I don't get into politics. I'm just retweeting what that guy said about the weather down there.
Yeah, it's on the map now. And so, Barry, could I be getting some reaction? I think earlier this week when the Braves were still in Toronto, on our Instagram post about previewing what was coming up on the show, 51st. I mentioned something about, can the Braves get a win in the 51st state?
I caught that. Yeah. Well, stay tuned. More to come. People are clamoring to hear what the fandom had.
Speaking of the Braves, I see John from Wetumpka has chimed in today.
Yeah.
We'll get to that when we come back.
We don't have to.
Or we can do it now if you want to.
We got to take a break. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Here we are at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Our friend, everybody's friend, Mary Ann is with us. Mary Ann, April is a special month, even more special at Marguerite's.
Definitely. Okay, so it's the first of the month, Barry. What's that birthstone?
It's a diamond, right?
Yes. Winner. It's easy to remember because with April comes baseball season, baseball diamond. We've got Diamond Month here at Marguerite's, and it is a great time. We are having Diamond Month to really emphasize all the great diamonds we have in stock. We're doing crazy specials on natural as well as lab created diamonds with solitaire specials, starting out at, this is crazy to believe, $500 for a lab created diamond solitaire. That's insane. Like a 1 carat inner ring. We have diamond studs, diamond tennis necklaces, tennis bracelets. Everything with our diamonds are going to be unmatched, unparalleled prices. And loose stones, again, maybe because it is baseball season and you're watching all of those games that you need to give a little extra something, or that girlfriend that you've been dating for a while needs to get an engagement ring. Well, now is definitely the time to do it because our loose diamonds are on special.
Yeah, if you are thinking about an engagement, here's a pro tip. That may be Marianne's favorite thing to do at Marguerite's, is to help the guys make sure their odds are good with a beautiful diamond for that loved one that they're going to pop the question to, right?
Most definitely. It's great to help. We love helping you. The hardest thing you have to do is walk through the door. Next thing, honestly, you just say, I need to get engaged. Or between the two of us or the rest of these listeners, I can tell when a guy walks through. They kind of just have that look and they're just walking slow and looking around. And I'm like, need an engagement ring? And they just shake their head. I take it from there. Just get some ideas. White gold, yellow gold, diamonds. We have them. Guys, it's not hard. Honestly, just walk through the door. We can help you.
Yeah, it's not intimidating at all. They have people who would love to help, especially in Diamond Month in April in Marguerite's. Yes. Mary Ann, as always, it's so great to talk with you. What are the hours of operation?
Sure. We're open 7 days a week in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center, 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center, next to Chappie's Deli, 8163 Vaughn Road in Montgomery. Thanks very much, Mary Ann. Great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
So, Barry, I was out at Marguerite's yesterday. Man, beautiful jewelry items in the display case for everybody to check out. And before Easter, be a great time to get an Easter gift for the loved one in your life, whether it's your wife or your daughter or whomever it may be. Just beautiful jewelry items for this special time and this special season. Go by and see Marguerite's, 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree, adjacent to Chappie's Deli. You can't miss it. And they got beautiful jewelry items you need to go see for yourself.
I need to get this out here while we have an opportunity between Jason Caldwell and Rodney Orr, who's coming up in just a moment, just so this does not sneak up on anybody. Tomorrow, I believe, there is going to be a meeting somewhere in Texas where the college football playoff committee is going to be meeting with several of their principals, and they're going to be talking about tweaks to the college football playoff system.
Oh, tweaks.
Yeah,
really?
just spitballing, throwing out a few ideas here and there, including expansion. Expanding the playoff, what to do with automatic bids. It's at a meeting. Actually, it's not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Next week in Las Colinas, Texas. All I know about Las Colinas is that was a lyric from Hotel California. Warm smell of colitas rising up through the air.
Is that near Dallas? Is that an area near Dallas? I want to say
Las Colinas, people. Anybody can help. According to Heather Dinich of ESPN, no decisions are expected.
Whoa, stop right there.
That means there will be decisions made. The only decisions, so you wonder, all right, if they're not going to make any decisions, why are they meeting? The College Football Playoff Management Committee, the decisions are expected to come over, do we go with the Lobster Thermidor or the Surf and Turf? Do we get the loaded potatoes on the side or just the rice pilaf? No decisions are expected, but there is a desire to consider options beyond the 12-team status quo and a model with automatic qualifiers for 2026 and beyond. The commissioners are expecting the college football playoff to prevent different format options and ways to modernize the selection process. Modernize the selection. That means when they say modernize, that meant the selection process, okay, we're going to select 5 teams from the SEC. We're going to select 5 teams from the Big Ten. And ACC, you'll get whatever we want. Automatic qualifiers from group of 4, group of 5. We got to modernize our selection process on that. It ain't going to be good for the group of 5. I can tell you that.
I like that term, modernize. That's an interesting way to put it. And you're going to hear all these little deflections. Well, we want to be presented with several different models, and we're going to, discuss this, that, and whatever. That just kind of gives you the impression that they're actually doing something. But I think in their minds, they know what they want to do. They want the Power 4 to dominate. They want to expand it to 16 teams because that's what the television networks want. They want scheduling agreements within the regular season because that's what the television networks want. And the fans want it as well. They don't want these crappy games, something I've been preaching about for years. Finally, people are seeing it my way. I knew eventually they'd come around. I see right through this. My only question is, what's taking so long? Let's get this thing going. Quit tap dancing around it. Let's get this plan implemented and make college football great again.
Isn't it that's MCFGA instead of MAGA? Wasn't it like the same thing at Rush? Whenever you had one meeting, your first meeting was to how should I put it, John? Separate the wheat from the chaff.
Mm-hmm.
And the second meeting was after the first Rush party, when you put the people's names up on the film strip, and okay, that guy's out, that guy's out. This guy looks like
somebody threw beer and popcorn at the screen.
This guy looks like a total dweeb. Yeah, but his dad's the CEO of this company, and
sure.
We need his contributions. And then the last one is the one right after the very last Rush party. You think, okay, all right, we got to start extending invitations. John was always, why don't we just have one meeting right at the very end, get it over with, and heck, I could have told you after the very first look at the potential pledges. I could have told you that night, 15 minutes after our first party ended, that guy,
sure.
out. That guy, forget it. This guy,
I'll never forget.
This takes one meeting. Why do we have to have 3 meetings?
I'm with you.
To
totally get it.
Arrive at the inevitable decision,
Yeah, total waste of time. And I was a Rush chairman, so I know how it goes. And I'd get up there and I'd get up on my soapbox and start talking about all these guys. It was the same old thing. Face man, got a cute girlfriend, likes to party, stays up all night. He'd be a great addition. And then one meeting, this guy raised his hand in the back, goes, I've heard you talk about all these guys. It's the same thing about every one of them. I've yet to hear you say one thing about their grade point average. You could have heard a pin drop.
Yeah.
Everybody turned around and looked at him and said, grade point average? What are you talking about?
All right. As of right now, you're on double secret probation.
Great.
How'd you even get into this fraternity? Give me a break.
So, yeah, I mean, I know the feeling there. So, before we get to Rodney Orr, the TiderInsider, exclusively brought to you by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, John from Wetumpka, is he just trying to ease into this, knowing that it's really chapping his rear end, but he just has to come to reality that the Braves just aren't really playing that well?
All right, let me scroll up. Geddy Lee, Bob from Pike Road, John Denton, Geddy Lee.
Hey, JJ in Atlanta checked in today, too.
Okay. Let's see. Robbie and I are messaging about the April demise of the Braves. Struck out 19 times yesterday. By the way, the Biscuits struck out 32 trash pandas in 2 games. 19 times. I think by the end of the game, the Braves' top 2 hitters, and they lose yesterday. I think it was 3-1 to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, something like that.
Spencer Strider, right after Swellenbach, I thought they'd have 2 easy wins. They lost them both. The top 2 hitters in the order, Michael Harris and Austin Riley, a combined 0 for 8, 8 strikeouts.
You know, Barry,
he didn't put the ball in play once the whole game. Just put it in play.
Yeah, they've got to get back to Atlanta. They've been on the road way too long. I don't know who the schedule makers are in Major League Baseball, but I don't think the Braves have had but 1 series at home since baseball started. They've been on the road a lot. I know they've been in California, for San Diego, LA, Tampa, Toronto. I think they had the Phillies at home, maybe something like that.
That was it. That was it.
Yeah, they got to get home. They got to get home. So, John, just be patient, my friend. I got a lot of faith in the Braves. Not in postseason, but regular season. Hey, our man Rodney Orr, the TiderInsider, joining us here as he does each and every Thursday, brought to you exclusively by our friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, the freshest seafood delivered daily, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup, 288-4272. What about that grilled grouper po' boy for lunch today? I highly recommend it. 288-4272. David will have it ready for you to enjoy at lunchtime.
Good morning, Rodney. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing well. How about the both of you?
We're doing really well, getting ready for the Easter holiday. I know you are as well. Wrapping up spring with Alabama's A-Day game. Give us a thumbnail sketch of your impressions of the whole thing. What the value was.
Barry, I think thumbnail is probably the right word. I mean, we got 2 media viewing periods, maybe 30 minutes total over the course of 5 weeks or whatever it was, 15 practices. And then, of course, we did have the open practice on last Saturday, which they call A-Day. So, it's really, I think a couple of things, if you want to say, and the observations would be just kind of the, the overall feel, I guess you could say, or the kind of the excitement level, the players. You do sense that, it was all on the same page. There was a different degree of, based on some things I've heard throughout the course of spring, a lot of intensity. So that part of it was really, really good. And I think the other thing that would stand out to me is just looking at them, as we say, on the hoof,
right?
Physically. I mean, it's a good-looking football team. It is. I think David Ballou and his staff, the strength and conditioning staff, did a fantastic job, really developing these players. So I think if you look at it from those 2 angles, those are real positives. And I think that the coaching staff, just the vibes that you get, they feel like they made a lot of progress, and they genuinely seem excited about the team that they're potentially could have.
Rodney, I've said this a couple of times recently, and it reminds me a little of Nick Saban going from year 1 to year 2. Now, certainly I'm not here to compare Kalen DeBoer to Nick Saban, not yet at least. But I do get the sense that going into year 2, there's just a different feel. I mean, this team realizes what is expected of them, the routines they're going to go through, the coaching style of Kalen DeBoer and this staff. I mean, last year, it's a get-to-know-me year. Now they know them, and I think it's translated into a lot of positives. You just pointed out several of them, the conditioning, just the way they handle themselves and present themselves.
and I'm still hearing one common theme. They got a lot of talent on this roster.
Yeah, certainly they do. And again, I obviously, I think after last season, anytime you lose a coach like Nick Saban, obviously a lot of people consider the greatest of all time, the transition, all of those things, certainly played into maybe the way things turned out last year, 9-4. It was a tough chore for Kalen DeBoer. But with that said, the question is moving forward. And I do think they have a lot of talent. I do think that if you want to say maybe more buy-in, but it's not like a bad reflection on last year's guys necessarily. It's just that, like you said, the familiarity of it. And that works both ways, coaches, players, and all of that. So with that said, you know what? Yeah, they do. The question to me, John, is this, John and Barry, and I'm not saying they don't, but I think quarterback is still, to me, a question mark. And not because the guys don't have the ability or at all. I just think that when you have that little experience, you don't know how a guy's going to respond. How's he going to respond in Tallahassee in that first game? How's he going to respond 3 weeks later against Georgia and Athens? And you guys know what if they lose both those games, boy, you have your back to the wall in terms of a playoff bid, right?
Right. Yes.
And I think that the expectation is this year, it's a pretty high expectation that Kalen DeBoer needs to get this team to the playoffs.
And you have spent a little time on the website, TiderInsider.com, cautioning those fans who say, well, I saw him throw in 7-on-7, or I saw him throw in drills and everything, and gosh, he was really accurate. That has its value, I suppose,
Sure.
but that's not going to win you a job.
No. I think right now the one thing that Ty Simpson has over the other two is he just has been more consistent. He protects the ball, better, or he has this spring. And I think a lot of that is a learning process for both Austin Mack, who's still very young. People talk about, well, he's going into his third year. Yeah, but the kid's 18 years old still. 18 years old. Think about that. And then you've got Keelan Russell, of course, the true freshman. Both those guys, I thought Saturday, they flashed some big-time arm talent. And, it's the decision-making. And that's where Ty, I think right now, is a little bit ahead. I think Ty has a lot of skills, a lot of tools, too. And if Ty's confidence kind of continues to grow and to build and take off, I think Ty can be a, fantastic quarterback. But still, like I said, we haven't seen enough of him in the fire, or any of them, obviously, but we don't know. And I think that, to me, is a question mark, because eventually, and you guys know this, quarterback's going to have to make some plays to win some big games.
Yeah.
Yep. I was a little surprised, Rodney. I'd like to get your thoughts. Ryan Grubb made the comment, if they played tomorrow, Ty Simpson would be their starter. Did that surprise you? And how do you think it makes the other two quarterbacks feel?
No, I'm not saying that I expected him to come out and say that, but no, it didn't surprise me, because I think that's pretty much been the pecking order throughout spring. I think that's what we thought going in. I think as you see how Ty was more consistent throughout the course of spring, that was a fair statement, very fair statement. That he would come out and say that, but he also said we don't play tomorrow, and saying basically, okay, the door's still open for these other guys. And I believe it is. I don't think there's a decision that Ty Simpson's going to be the starter versus Florida State right now. I think the decision, will be made if can Ty, do you take it to August camp? Do you continue to grow? And, how do these other guys develop? I will say that if you ask me again today, I think Ty will probably start that FSU game. And then we'll see how he responds. But those other two guys, I'm telling you, they have some big-time arm talent. It's decision-making.
Right.
And that's going to be the key for those guys.
Kind of a two-part question here, Rodney, from the spring. I don't think Ryan Williams scrimmaged a lick the entire spring. Is there anything there? And number two, since he didn't, last year we talked during this season on the show about how it seemed as though it was Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard, and that was it. It seems as though with Williams not scrimmaging a lot, they had a lot of wide receivers who kind of took advantage of that opportunity. It seems like there's a whole lot of deeper of a wide receiver room than there was last year, correct?
Yeah, definitely. As far as Ryan, no, I think he's fine. I mean, it's just, maybe DeBoer said maybe a minor thing here or there, but nothing that would have really limited him that much. But I think it was an opportunity to kind of let him rest up, but also an opportunity to allow some of these younger guys. And I tell you, man, I think they do have some. We said before spring started, that was one of our preview deals. Watch out for this wide receiver room. We're hearing a lot of buzz about these guys. And I think, you could even see it Saturday. Latsier Brooks, the young freshman from New Jersey. Derek Meadows. I thought he was very impressive on Saturday. Just watching him run routes, catch balls, catch contested balls, the way he competed. And he's 6'5", almost 6'6". He's 200 and some pounds. So you add that to Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard and Rico Scott. I thought, had some good moments this spring. Cole Adams. You could go down the list. There's a couple other guys, but I think it's a room that could be really productive, and it gives you so many different options. And I think wide receiver, and I'll tell you the other group too, that just talent when you see it just jumps out at you, is the secondary. Because they have a lot of young talent. Okay, keep in mind now, Keon Sabb was out at safety, and so was Damani Jackson at corner. So to be able to look down there and see a guy like just Dejon Lee, for example, the true freshman, or, obviously we know about Bray Hubbard and Zay Mincy, but Ivan Taylor, a true freshman down there. Just so many guys. Deshaun Jones, I thought he stood out some. And we could go down the list. Obviously, Zabian Brown is a big-time talent. So they've got a lot of really good-looking players in that secondary as well.
Rodney, the transfer portal opened up yesterday. What are you hearing coming and going? It seems like maybe tight end might be an area that this staff could be interested in.
Yeah, I think tight end definitely would be a position to watch, and punter. I think if they could find the right offensive lineman to kind of give them some versatility, they could play tackles, maybe both tackle spots. There's the kid at South Dakota, Joe Cotton, who Alabama's reached out to as an offensive tackle. Really good-looking player. Now, a lot of schools have reached out to him. So, but Alabama is one that. So that's a position, and those are three positions that we've been saying watch out in the portal for. Of course, if you could get a big-time defensive lineman, or a guy that's a big physical presence, that to give you some depth in that rotation and get a lot of snaps. I think you would always want that. I don't know if they can do, if that's going to be possible for them, but that's a position that I think I would also watch.
Your reaction to hearing any of the details you heard about the Nico Iamaleava story from Tennessee?
My impressions of it?
Yeah, just what you thought about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just, first of all, it's really unfortunate where we are. That a guy can just pick up and leave on his team. That I call Nico the first real holdout. I mean, he just flat out held out and walked out on his team. I mean, this is a walkout. We've seen NFL guys do that, when contract negotiations. So this is what it was. He just walked out on his team. And that's really unfortunate, because I think that potentially you're going to see more of that. I don't know how much, but there's a chance that we could see more of that.
Rodney, I wonder, though, if that's the last straw, with all the things that have been going on with this transfer and NIL and all this type stuff that I don't think people really envisioned it would get to where it has gotten. I think a player saying, I'm not coming to practice and I'm demanding a increase in my NIL for the third time. And I get the sense presidents, administrators, athletic directors, coaches are saying enough's enough. we got to, whether we make them employees and they got to sign a contract and they got to commit to a year or two at least with us before bolting or whatever it is. To me, I kind of get like this is the last straw.
Well, you would hope so.
Yeah.
You just, and maybe it is, and I have no idea, but I would say this, you could see this coming 5 years ago. I mean, the first thing that hit me when I heard about the portal and the NIL and all this, I said, oh no, here we go. You better hire a retention staff to keep your roster together. That was my thought then. That's what I said, was you better hire a retention staff because this is the kind of thing that's coming. And, you could see it a mile away. And now all of a sudden, those people that people used to refer to as handlers or whatever, then they become agents. So, I think that they're out there. Look, these guys are making money off these players.
They are.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, so they're out there trying to get more and more for their guys. And this is kind of the way it's going. And I don't know, what they're exactly going to do to limit this. I mean, obviously the revenue sharing, and supposedly they're going to have a clearinghouse where all these NIL deals have to go through the clearinghouse. So, but, there's probably going to still be that aspect of the under the table opportunities for guys. But, it is what it is. Hopefully, like you said, though, maybe they get this thing cleaned up with this revenue sharing and the this clearinghouse that supposedly is going to come into effect.
Well, let's hope so for sure.
Yeah, boy. A-Day Saturday. Not as many fans that were there in prior years. Rodney, is your thoughts on that? Is it because it wasn't a game? Or people aren't real sure who's going to be on the roster when they go to Tallahassee in late August. Just the way college athletics is playing out right now. I mean, it could be a combination of all of those. But your thoughts about why A-Day didn't seem to be as big of a deal as it used to be?
Well, I think part of it is maybe all those things you mentioned. The format was different. Things are changing. Things have been changing. But it's not just Alabama.
Yeah.
You look at Oklahoma. I saw Kel Gundy put out a tweet that OU went from 50,000 to 5,000 in their spring game. There's two long threads on TiderInsider.com yesterday of fans discussing their diminishing interest in college athletics, college sports. I mean, long threads. And I think there's something to that. There's a lot to that. It's just not what it used to be. And fans have lost some interest. Doesn't mean that they're not going to set viewing records or whatever that they put out, when the ratings come out for TV or whatever. And there's not going to be full stadiums. But there is a sense that people are losing some interest because of all this stuff. And, even if they get all of this under control, I still think for at least a period of time, they're going to have to rejuvenate the interest in college athletics because people, you jump from one team to the next, just like that. You go to one team and then the next year you jump to another team and you jump to another team and there's no loyalty. That used to be a big part of it, was the loyalty. And I'm just talking about a few years ago.
Not that far back.
Not that far back. So,
and Rodney, the financial commitment as well. What these schools are asking you to pay for tickets, concessions, parking, time away from home, travel. I mean, it is, in Montgomery, if you go to Tuscaloosa, it's an all-day affair, almost an all-weekend affair. I mean, you go to Auburn, you can get over here quick and get back quick. But if you're in Mobile, Montgomery, Huntsville, Atlanta, Jackson, Mississippi, and you go to Tuscaloosa, you're asking for a commitment of the entire weekend.
Yeah, and a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money. It's a ton of money. So yeah, I mean, I think that certainly is something to it as well. And again, I was talking to a what I would consider a very prominent donor. And he said, look, what I'm paying for NIL, football, basketball, skyboxes, some fund, for the athletic program, all of these things. He said, I'm not going to keep doing that. And it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Ooh.
I mean, obviously this guy's got the money to do that, but how long are these guys going to keep doing it? I don't know. And here's the thing. I'm going to say this, going to be a little, this is just me. Okay.
All right.
This is, and look, I'm sure that some people might not like this, but the coaching salaries, I think those guys deserve to be paid well. But when you're making $1 million a year and you bump a coach up a few $100,000, but you're asking for more money from someone else. So why didn't you just use that $200,000? You could have done something else, right? So I'm not knocking coaches or them making good money, because it's a tough job, demanding a lot of time. But when you're making, $750,000, $1 million a year, and you get bumped up 300, 250,000, whatever. I'm just throwing a figure out there.
Sure.
I understand.
And then you're on the flip side of that, you're asking people for more money. I mean, I don't know how people can justify that.
I totally agree. It's gotten way out of hand. It seems like, in the real world, you got to produce, you got to win, and you got to meet your sales quota month after month after month after month. It is. It's out of whack. I'm hoping that we can get something in place to structure this and streamline it, because I fear it as well. I think there's people that are getting, I don't know if they're losing interest, Rodney. I think they're frustrated. They don't like the way, as you mentioned, they don't like the way college athletics is today. They're frustrated by it. And, maybe they have lost a little interest. I think when they kick it off, they'll be interested, but in the off season, they're frustrated.
Let me put it this way. Let me give you an example. And you guys know this. Recruiting used to be the hottest topic. I mean, it was nonstop. Recruiting, who we getting? What's this guy saying? The fans on my board, they don't really care right now. Yeah, they want to get good players, but they say, look, what these kids say, they may say something this week and they may get a bigger offer next week, or they may get something else that entices them. So when they commit, it doesn't really matter. And guess what? When they sign, it doesn't really matter.
Matter then either. Yes.
I mean, and if they stay a year, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because they're free agents all the time. So recruiting, so people don't even, I saw one poster yesterday and several agreed with him. Why would you spend an ounce of energy worrying about recruiting? Because it doesn't really matter right now. I mean, yeah, you want to get those players and you have to get good players, but you don't even know if you're going to have them. And you can't build depth. I mean, it's tough to build depth. So, but I will say this. I think the culture that Kalen DeBoer is trying to continue to build is one that, there's a lot of, you can sense that there's a little bit of difference in terms of, I don't know what you want to put it, brotherhood, camaraderie, that kind of makes guys want to be a part of it, if that makes sense. So I think for, that could certainly be beneficial for Alabama in terms of keeping players. That's just my feel of it.
I can't disagree with any of that.
Me either.
It's really good stuff. Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. How do people subscribe? How do people become part of that community at Tider Insider?
It's TiderInsider.com. It's only $48 a year. And you can get instant access with your credit card. If you prefer, there is an address there to send a check. Gives you all our premium information, but also right now our all sports forum. That's really where things are happening. Yeah. So again, it's only $48 a year.
It's the best $48 you'll ever spend. And as Rodney just mentioned, those message boards, I can't really accurately describe it. I mean, it is just so informative, so humorous. It's just, you got to experience it for yourself.
Hey, John, Barry, just real quick. You
All right.
talking about those forums. You know, things happen, whether it's I don't know, but it's amazing how quickly that when things happen, they get them on those forums, all
There's
sports
no
forums
question.
or our other forums for news. I'll give you an example. When the Los Angeles newspaper, whichever one it was, broke that Michael Jackson passed away several years ago, less than a minute and a half later, it was on TiderInsider.com. Can you imagine?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
I can imagine.
that's how fast the information gets on, transferred to TiderInsider.com.
How do you think I found out about Aridy's Angels and Destiny and Mike Price? It was on Tider Insider.
And
You
Cam
know what?
Newton.
Yeah, and Cam Newton. Yeah.
We could write a book about all that stuff.
Woo.
Oh,
Hey, that's for the summer. Can't wait to get into
That's
that.
right. Good stuff, Rodney. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Okay, guys, take care.
You too, buddy. Rodney Orr, the Tider
He's not
Insider,
wrong.
joining us each and every Thursday, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. The freshest seafood direct from the Gulf arrives daily. You need some seafood for your Easter dishes, your Easter lunch. Hey, David and his staff can hook it up for you. 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call ahead, 288-4272 for the Destin Connection Seafood Market. When we come back, the Phantom's Daily Dog.
For the love of all that's holy, people, stop texting me about it. He's bringing it up next. Good
Will
grief.
Fisher, the director of golf at Capitol Hill, will hop on as well in the remainder of the show, as will Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Tobias has checked in from Arizona. JJ from Atlanta earlier today. Bob from Pike Road got in today. And yes, Rodney, a mere 28 minutes. Thank you, Chris the Bammer. We're just trying to give you what you want.
I got him at 26, but
26,
yeah, it's a while. Yeah, for sure. Stay with us in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
One, you're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here. Bottom of hour number 2, Will Fisher of Capitol Hill on the RTJ Trail going to join us here in just a moment. But Barry, as you mentioned,
people wanting to know what the Phantom's daily dog did yesterday.
Well, see, I think part of that is probably not sincere. I think part of that is people already know what the Phantom's daily dog was from yesterday. They just want everybody else to know it. And, I think it speaks to people's humanity, people's compassion, because the Phantom, it seems like we always hear when something doesn't work out for the Phantom. And the Phantom is way too humble for his own good, because when things pay off, he doesn't fixate on them. He says, well, you got to do it again tomorrow, this.
True.
So, a lot of people, I think, just with the tone of, hey, I just want everybody to know that the Phantom was dead on yesterday, if and whenever it does happen. So I think they realized that they looked at that game in Chicago yesterday, probably, and I don't think this is where this is spoken enough of, probably the Phantom's daily dog pick yesterday probably drove a lot of viewers to that game,
Well, we hope so.
Hey,
it was a great game.
TNT or whoever it was.
ESPN.
You're welcome,
Yes.
People
You
don't
better
talk a
believe
lot
it.
about how sometimes a Phantom play, especially during college football season, will drive viewership. Why do we want to watch that one? Well, don't forget, the Phantom picked that one.
That's
did
right.
he? Ooh, okay. Where do I tune
Well,
in?
I got to tell you, Barry, it was two good games. I tell you, I know a lot of folks aren't NBA fans, but in the playoffs, it's really good basketball. I've enjoyed it and looking forward to the remainder of the playoffs. And last night, you're right, the Miami Heat on the road at Chicago last night in a playoff game.
Yep.
The Heat were a 1.5 point underdog. They were an underdog in this game, Barry, at Chicago. They win it outright by 19 points.
Yep.
Didn't even need the 1.5.
The Bulls season is over. They're eliminated. Tyler Hero scores 38. Miami in the playoff tournament wins by 19. Now, they'll have to play again tomorrow as what? The 7 seed against the Hawks.
Yes.
More on that later, possibly. The
Hawks. Yeah. Hey, is Trae Young going to even get to play in
That's
that game?
a good question. I think people need to know.
Yeah, we got to do a little homework there. Now, Barry, this is just a mere coincidence. After we win with the Miami Heat last night, getting off the mat because it had been kind of a rough start to the week, but we got off the mat last night. Just want to point that out. We are heading back to Miami. Actually, this game was in Chicago last night.
Yeah, it was.
We're going to take a team from South Florida. You better get up early, Barry, because this game goes off at 11:10 this morning.
What?
This game's, like 3 hours away, less than 3 hours away. So if you're watching us live here this morning on Longshore McKnight, and you're not listening, you better get in early. It is at 11:10 today, Barry, where the Arizona Diamondbacks are taking on the Florida Marlins, or the Miami
Marlins. Yeah.
The Miami Marlins in a getaway game today. And I know what you're saying. Phantom, the Arizona Diamondbacks at this current moment have the longest winning streak in all of Major League Baseball.
What?
Yeah.
How?
The Diamondbacks have won 4 in a row. Where the Miami Marlins have lost 2 in a row. Getaway game. I do not see the Arizona Diamondbacks sweeping the Marlins. They've already won the first 2. They don't get the win today. Miami wins the game today. An early start, Barry, as we mentioned, an early start today. It's Eduardo Rodriguez. Hey, there's a baseball name. You never hear a name like that.
No. And he's pitching for the Diamondbacks.
Correct.
Against Edward Cabrera.
I mean, those are baseball names, Barry. Rodriguez, you kidding me? I got to think every team in Major League Baseball has got at least one player with the last name Rodriguez on it. Just saying.
Well, That's our
and to think
Phantom.
this is and to think this is America's game, I'm not so sure it is anymore.
Well, Latin America is still America.
Well, true. Good point.
The Phantom Daily Dog.
Yeah, it is.
Arizona and Miami.
We're taking the Marlins plus 135.
There you
They're
go.
a home dog.
Yes.
So I got a lot of faith in Edward Cabrera. Not to be confused with the professional golfer that spent 2 years in
An
a
Argentinian jail. No, different guy.
This is not Angel Cabrera.
Well,
this is Edward Cabrera.
Since you're talking about golfers, let's bring in Will Fisher. He's the director of golf at Capitol Hill in Prattville, Alabama, on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. Good morning, Will. How are you doing?
I'm great, guys. How are y'all?
Doing pretty well, but I got to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 meaning there's no way Rory is able to come back from hitting it in the water on 13, to 10 being, oh, he's got this. Oh, he's got this. Where did you fall on the scale at that moment in the Masters on Sunday?
I thought he was a 2. I thought that he was going to, when he dumped it in the water, I literally sent a text to some friends and I said, what in the world is wrong with this guy? I mean, DeChambeau has just made double on 11, it's like, what are you doing? And I did not, I can honestly say that I watched a lot of the Masters. I don't remember what Rory, his game plan was Thursday through Saturday on 13. But I have to believe that he did not hit 3-wood the first 3 days. And he hits 3-wood on Sunday to lay up safe play, right? And then he chunks it. That's not chunks. He hits it off the toe into the creek. And it's like, oh my, are we getting ready? Are we going to do this again? And so, listen, I mean, I do understand that he has probably, in my generation, probably played that round of golf with the most pressure that any player has ever had on them in my generation. And I am not a great history buff of golf, but I remember hearing or reading, Palmer just never could get the U.S. Open. And he lost one at Oakmont to Nicholas, if I remember this correct. Now, I may have this wrong. I haven't looked it up. But I got to remember, if I'm correct, then that's got to be as much pressure as Rory played, being basically in Arnold's backyard, needing the U.S. Open to get the career Grand Slam. So, listen, I'm happy for him. I was actually rooting for DeChambeau. I think he's great. I think his interactions with the fans all week was fantastic. I think golf needs more of that. But I am happy for Rory. And my other question I had, and this is why I can't be in the media business, because my questions are not very good questions as far as probably professionalism goes. But are you crying or are you laughing on 18 when you made the putt?
On your hands and knees.
I mean, are we trying to manufacture a cry, or are we actually crying? I couldn't figure out. And then he had like a huge smile on his face, and it's like, okay, the smile I get, but what motions are we going through right here? And obviously, it was the whole gamut.
Yeah, I think it reminded me of Ben Crenshaw when he won his second green jacket, and he got emotional as well. And the career Grand Slam. I know there was a lot going into it. But I wondered about that too. Will, I'm with you. I don't want to take anything away from it, but I did kind of wonder about his emotions, and you could see it as he walked off the green, as he walked through that gauntlet of fans, as he was heading up to sign his scorecard and get the interview from Jim Nantz and Ridley and the crew from Augusta National. But I see what you're saying. I picked up on that as well. One thing I think got lost in the shuffle, Will, is Former Alabama golfer Nick Dunlap shoots a 90 on the opening round. Someone had texted me about his poor performance in round one, and I said, heck, I even scored better than that the time I got to play. 90. Gee whiz, what's he going on? But the next day on Thursday, he shoots 1 under. I got to tell you, if I'd have shot 90 in the first round of the Masters, I'd have been out all night with Club Pro guy and probably missed my tee time on Friday. And for this guy to come back and shoot 1 under, man, how impressive is that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, hats off to Nick. I mean, just to have the stones to show up the next morning, I think it's impressive in itself, right? I mean, I think I told you guys last week when we talked about it that in 16, I would have been talking about Caddy that, listen, we're going to sign this scorecard. And then we're going to tell everybody that I've been playing the last 9 holes with a back issue and that we just manned up and finished the round. And we're going to WD and we're going to take it on back to Tuscaloosa and just see what happens. You know,
I mean, you got to limp as you're walking up the 18th fairway. You got to be limping or something.
Yeah, you got to manufacture some stuff and come up with it to cover the story 100%. But there's no way, knowing that I was staring down an 18 over par at the Masters, was I coming back the next day. But you know, I don't have that in me. I mean, I would be a mental midget at that point. But now, hats off to Nick. I mean, it's very gutsy to come back and do that, and then to play that well. You know, just hopefully he figures it out. I mean, obviously, you can tell when a guy really is struggling with their swing, you know, that if you don't really know where you're going to miss it. Like I said, we watched him Wednesday, and on number 5, he hit 2 drives. I don't think he had played. I didn't notice him playing the first 4 holes with JT and Spieth, but he joined him on 5. He hit 1 hard left and he hit 1 hard right, and it was like, you know. Usually you like to be one or the other so that you know, you have an idea of where you're going to miss it and you can kind of guard against it. But kudos to him. I will say this, the last thing I'll say about Rory, and again, another reason I'm not in the media, but I thought it was a little interesting that in his statement on 18 green that he mentioned a lot of friends and family. He mentioned Poppy, his daughter, no mention of Erica. And you know, I know we've patched this up, but maybe we haven't completely patched up.
Yeah, I wondered that too.
Is this a Jason Duffner kind of thing where you just all no, I'm out.
I noticed that too. CBS kind of shied away from that a little bit. All right, look, we got Rory McIlroy winning the Grand Slam, one of 6 golfers to ever do it. Huge news in the golf world. But Will, the news we got earlier this week about something else happening in the golf world, is that bigger than what Rory did?
I think so. I think that I think so. I mean, the fact that our guy has returned back to the U.S. from Honduras is fantastic, and you know, we're very excited to have him back. The Learning Center, which launched early this morning, this morning. I'm looking forward to that. You know, listen, you know, if you are getting ready to play in your club championship and you're not sure you're going to be an A-flight guy, those guys know when they sign up, they're an A-flight guy. If you're not sure, then I would suggest that you take out a membership to the Learning Center. He's going to help you bring home the goods and the gift certificates and Sea Flight trophy. I think he's, you know, he said it in his announcement that he is going to be developing the best Sea Flight players in the world. So, I mean, this is, if you're interested in winning the Sea Flight of the club championship, this is your way to do it right here. You know, get ahead of the curve, get out there in front of your friends and your partners at the club, and let's make this happen. And listen, the other thing I will say that I'm just glad to know that some of the USAID money was going to a well thought out, you know, criteria and program, you know, and investigating. Should we call the red tees, the ladies tees, or the forward tees? It's a very sensitive topic in golf.
It is.
Yes, it is.
And I was a lot going on in the world, and I thought that was a good use of $1.2 billion.
Well, I do know this. If you check out the analytics on Google, people Googling Honduras has risen about 78%. Honduras? Where the heck is Honduras?
Hey, and Will, I'm glad to know Miguel is coming back as well.
Well, you want to talk about good baseball names? Let's throw out
Yeah.
Vegas, right? Miguel Vegas is a great baseball name. I'm sure that Miguel has some close relatives that have played in the major leagues, so I'm excited to see him back. And the real question that I have for Club Pro Guy, and I'm going to wait, let him kind of get back into it and ease into the deal. We got Mike Beverly behind me.
I see that. Yeah. Hey, Mike.
And but we're trying to, the real question is going to be, is a Club Pro Guy, really, are we really able to finish 3-Jack National? Are we ready to get this thing open and going? I'm excited to see hopefully a finished product. So that's one of the things. I'm gonna let the dust settle, let him get his feet underneath him, and then I'm gonna reach out to him on Twitter and see if we can see a finished product of 3-Jack National. As a member, I'm ready to see it.
Oh well,
the
bag tags and hats are great. I want to put a tee in the ground.
Absolutely,
I'm ready to play.
He may need another small investment on the CapEx side of things, to get things finished. But if that's the case, I'm willing to ante up. And this is, to me, 3-Jack National is my NIL collective, if you will. And so, I'm willing to contribute.
For tee times and more information to Capitol Hill on the RTJ Trail. The weather's beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful Easter weekend. If you got some relatives coming into town that want to tee it up, Capitol Hill's the place. How do they get in touch with you, Will?
Yeah, they give us a call at 334-285-1114. They can also look online. There's all the tee times are right there. You can book them online at rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill.
Excellent stuff. Well, we always appreciate it. Thanks.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all have a great weekend. Thanks so much.
You too, buddy. Thank you so much, Barry. I see Gurn Jr.'s got it up, ready to go when we return. Chris, get ready. The Victoryland 777 topic wheel.
When we come back, in association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the river region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21.
Back at it here on a Thursday, Longshore and McKnight, ready to go. About 12 minutes to the top of the hour here on the program. Just to be clear, the Braves off today. I don't think they're playing today.
Yeah, they do not play today, so they cannot lose. The Braves will tough year. I'm starting to jump off the bandwagon. They are back at home tomorrow night against the Minnesota Twins. But not today.
I don't think I don't believe I heard. I don't think I'm going to believe what I just heard you say.
I don't.
You're off the Braves.
13. They're 5-13.
I didn't think I'd ever hear that.
5-13.
But Barry, it's a long season. They play 162 games.
Yeah.
They're not even close to being. Look. Can you at least give them till the All-Star break?
I don't see it. I don't
Man.
see it. I don't see it.
I mean, I hate to go Gene Chizik on you, but
5-13.
How have the Braves fallen so far?
Well, they
so
lose Max Fried to the Yankees. You know, Strider is not used Jurickson Profar for 80 games because of the drug tests. You know, I mean, they've got issues. There are reasons. If you want to hear the excuses, stay tuned because they're going to be coming. I'm just telling you.
I thought it was bad when one of their pitchers got lost on 285. Now it's like drug testing.
35 years ago. Yeah.
Who was that? Pascual Perez? Who was
yes,
that
it
guy?
was. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you? Well, look, I can get lost on 285. I mean, it's you got to be paying attention.
Pascual, number one, he ain't from around there. He's not totally familiar with the interstate system in the greater Atlanta area. But then again, who is? And number two, Pascual, I don't know that he was ever going to be a Phi Beta Kappa
Probably
somewhere.
not.
I don't think if he ever went to college, he would ever be much of a candidate for an academic honor or anything.
Was he the former Brave after a big win said, I can sum it up in 4 words or less?
No, that was Joaquin Andujar. I can I can sum it up. Oh, then maybe that was it. My favorite Joaquin Andujar was, my favorite word in baseball, and he's not a Native American English speaker. My favorite word in baseball, and I love this word. You never know.
You never know. You never know. I don't know if it was Pascual or not, but I do remember a former Brave saying, I can sum up this feeling in 4 words or less. It don't get no better than this.
Daniel says Braves generally don't win at the Dodgers, San Diego, and Toronto. They played all of them early. Lineup will look different when Acuna Jr. returns. I'm still holding on the Braves.
Okay, all right, Daniel, there you go.
Just like Gurn is holding on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel.
Yes, let's get the wheel locked and loaded. We got several topics. The wheel's ready for a spin. Give it a good pull on our Victoryland 777 topic wheel where you can be a winner too. Getting started. What could this be about? Let's
Getting
see.
started. That's our
started.
red pie.
What do we got here?
All right. Nick Chubb, great running back, great guy. He has had some injury problems.
Let's go, Nick.
500 pounds?
Yeah, with a knee that's been reconstructed like 3 times.
Yeesh.
There's some titanium in there. There's some titanium in that knee. Yeah. Now, great guy, great running back when he's healthy, but he got injured at Georgia. He's gotten injured twice severely with the Cleveland Browns. My buddy Gunner, who's a huge Browns fan, he's loving that video of Nick Chubb just getting started. They're writing him. I thought whenever he got the second injury last year, I thought he's done. He's done. But he says, nope, they're writing my ending when I'm just getting started. I like it.
Barry, I think I've been very upfront on my dislike of lifting weights over the years. That just hurt. That just, I cringed watching that. I couldn't think of anything I'd least like to do.
You can go to YouTube, and unfortunately, you can Google weightlifting injuries, and they'll show you a few. I recommend it that you do that, but yeah, that's
just now. I was more of a finesse guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Gurn, what else you got for us here? Let's spin the wheel, locked and loaded, ready to go.
Okay.
Multicolored wheel, exit 22 off I-85 in Short, Alabama, open 24/7. And it's going to land on the Troy Trojans. What's going on down in Troy?
Well, Jason mentioned this in terms of Auburn. Because it's Easter weekend, Auburn opens up their series tonight at Texas. Likewise, the number 18 Troy Trojans open up their series early at home at Riddle Pace against Louisiana Monroe tonight at 6 o'clock. It's Thirsty Thursday. And I already mentioned yesterday, the specialty concession item is a donut bacon cheeseburger. Ticket specials, $2 general admission tickets, $5 home plate tickets, $10 field level, $1 for student guest tickets. Troy baseball is currently in second place in the Sun Belt, just a game out of first with 6 straight games at home. They play again tomorrow night at 6 at ULM for the second game of the series, a post-game fireworks show after the game tomorrow. And then on Saturday, 3:33 in the afternoon on Military Sunday, they'll have that donut bacon cheeseburger again as the concession item on Saturday. Tickets available at TroyTrojans.com/tickets.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yep. All right. 3 more to go. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. It is spinning around. Where it will land, nobody knows. But it looks like it's going to stop on
Line Drive.
One of my favorite hits in baseball. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, the umpire. What's the pitch? What's the pitch? Not.
He shoots that one off. Hunter Wendell, and he goes down. Oh, my.
Did it get him in the head?
Got him in the head.
Got him right in the back of the head.
Oh.
Hunter Wendell
just talking the other day about how base coaches wear helmets and that the base umpires should wear them as well. And Hunter Wendelstedt took a direct shot.
Ouch.
Yeah. He's been an umpire for a long time. And I do wonder sometimes, because I've seen umpires take hits to the groin. I've seen umpires take hits to the, to the derriere, and, base umpires will get a ground ball that'll glance against their leg and stuff like that. They hit rockets in the major leagues. And, what a knothead. He should be quick enough to get out of the way. Yeah, you do it. You try it. Those things are moving sometimes.
Yeah, they are. I do wonder if after that, umpires will have to wear helmets like the
base coaches do.
Like the base coaches do. I don't know why they don't.
I don't either.
Wow, that's a tough one to see there. Hope he's okay. Hope everything's all right there. I got to tell you this, Bear. If you go to a Biscuits game, you sit down the first base line, you better be paying attention.
You better not be sitting there looking at pictures on somebody's phone. I've seen it happen.
Yeah. You sit down low, you better be paying attention.
I remember one game. I think it was a Biscuits game. No. It was a major league game I saw where a lady got hit by a foul ball by the batter, and they got to her and they were taking her up. They stopped play for a little while. They were, they got her, and she didn't get hit terribly, but they helped her up. And I don't know, maybe she had blood somewhere or something. They're helping walk her up the steps, and they get back to play. The guy hits another foul ball, hits her again, making her way up the steps and everything. She went down that time. That second one was worse than the first.
Man,
got to pay attention, people.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
that's why I like to sit behind home plate, because I got that net. So you really don't have to pay much attention, which I don't in baseball games anyway.
That's right. But he always insists on sitting down front in the good seats.
Yes, unless there got to be a net. Okay, spin it again, Gurn. Let's see what else we got here. Get to these before the top of the hour, as they say, and it's going to land on best hitter. Well, obviously he doesn't play for the Braves, but let's check and see what this is about.
Yeah, this is Aaron Judge. All rise for Judge.
Look at that.
He's the captain of the Yankees. He's about 6'7", weighs about 270. Last year he hit 320 something with, I don't say 58 bombs. Yeah. Now, he's probably, last year, with all the numbers he had, with the MVP and the Yankees playing the World Series, he's probably best known for dropping that fly ball in the World Series that led to the Dodgers comeback. But, best hitter in baseball, I got to go with Aaron Judge.
It looks like he could play tight end in
the
NFL.
Huge.
That guy's pretty big for a baseball player.
No doubt. Yes.
All right, let's sweep the board here. One more. We got to spin it to make it official.
Bad
Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Got the Victoryland logo there in the middle. And it's going to land on bad pitch. Ooh, this could be. I got a feeling I know where this is.
Oh, yeah. This is what John – this is why John sits behind home plate. They throw at Lloyd No, Andrew McCutcheon's head misses him. They throw at his head.
Yeah. You know what's coming.
The pitcher ain't backing up. McCutcheon ain't happy with it. There's a little woofing going on.
Yeah.
This is between Washington and Pittsburgh. And says a few other things. And here they come.
Beautiful.
This is when somebody nudges John and says, "Hey, John, look what's going on." What? Ooh, look at this. Yeah.
If we only had more of this in baseball, I probably would pay more attention.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this guy shouldn't have taken his time. He should have sprinted to the mound and not let this guy, walk around and chirp a little bit.
And the pitcher dropped the glove, get ready for a big haymaker. And he was throwing at the head. There's no question about it. And there's no
whatever.
reason.
Now, of course, you see, but then you got to look at the up and go, oh, man, my hands are, got to act like you didn't mean to do it.
Buying it for sure. Hey, tomorrow, we are both on location.
How about that?
Yep. We are at Stivers in Prattville.
Montgomery. We were in Stivers I was in Prattville last week, I believe.
Stivers
I think
Ford.
so. Yep, Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where Price sells cars. But here at Stivers Ford right now, employee pricing. That's right. You pay what they pay across the full lineup of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. We'll tell you more about that tomorrow out at Stivers in Montgomery.
Yep.
Going to have a lot going on, so we're excited about it on a Friday at Stivers.
Much appreciation for Will Fisher, the director of golf at Capitol Hill in Prattville on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com. The Tider Insider himself, Rodney Orr. Much appreciation to Gurn Jr., our broadcast producer. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.